All right, welcome back to Humans of Grappling. Today we are talking about how do we define a game. Humans of Grappling is where we explore the intersection of grappling and everything else in life, trying to draw connections between, like, either your life outside of jiu-jitsu to jiu-jitsu and there and back again, right? So defining a game, ecological approach is this big, hot new thing that people are kind of getting all up in arms about because it breaks with tradition a little bit. But then other people say, "Oh, it's not that new." I don't care. Like, it's new enough such that, and I think it's effective enough such that this is all I'm going to teach. This is the only way I'm going to teach until I see something better, right? This is just the perspective that I take. And I'm branding my online content as Sandbox BJJ, where the sandbox is the thing that we're focusing on. We're drawing a boundary around the thing that we're focusing on, and then that's defining what's in bounds and what's out of bounds, right? The thing that we want to work on and the things that we don't want to work on. And if we start to venture into things we don't want to work on, we're cognizant enough to just reset into the middle and continue playing in the sand, right? We're playing in the sand, we're building stuff up, we're creating, we're not afraid to tear it down either though. We're very okay with just wiping the slate clean and just resetting, right? So that's kind of just 2-minute intro to Sandbox BJJ. So how do we define games? That's kind of the start of it, but how do we actually apply it to jiu-jitsu? So the good thing in jiu-jitsu is that everything has a name, right? And it's ultimately just configurations between two bodies. So even though, like, Greg Souders is very, like, anti-naming things because he it, I don't know. He goes kind of off the deep end in terms of, like, oh, what is a half guard? I don't know. It's gonna be there isn't a perfect ideal half guard, right? There's a concept of, like, okay, you're one leg in between my two legs, but that is gonna vary from person to person, from limb length to limb length. It's all gonna be a little different. So I don't know. I think names are still useful because we have to communicate somehow. Greg Souders does it in such a way that he just uses body part terminology. Okay, your legs are going to be like here, and your arms are going to be like here, and you're going to try to put your arms here and your head there. Like, everything has, like, that's a very kind of straightforward interpretation of, like, okay, I just need to do that. Versus jiu-jitsu, we like to, I don't know, add shortcuts. Like, even though we don't, it's not as newbie friendly, we can, it kind of shortcuts to, okay, we're talking about half guard, dogfight, um, jelly roll, or whatever, or whatever the the rolling option off that. Like, if you know what I'm talking about, you can picture what all just happened there, right? Half guard dogfight to, I forget what the roll is called. See, I just got a concussion a month ago, so I'll have that excuse. Or half guard dogfight, limp arm out, right? We can we can specify specific. We can call different moves specific things, and it's useful for talking about that, right? So I don't think, like, 10th Planet takes this to the extreme of, like, all kinds of, like, weird. I think actually Dogfight is a 10th Planet name potentially. I'm not sure the origin of that, but um, yeah, Eddie Bravo named all kinds of stuff with a rubber guard, all kinds of like step by step things that are control points along the path to getting to rubber guard. So, um, yeah, I don't know. It's just names are useful. That's I think I'll just end with that. Names are useful. So, if you want to define what's in the sandbox, what's inbounds and what's out of bounds for defining a game, you want to define, okay, I want to work on my half guard. Okay, cool. Maybe we should start in half guard. Cool. Or I want to work on getting to half guard. Okay, maybe then we start in open guard or butterfly guard or close guard. Like if that's the goal that we want to get to half guard, then that see like that those are different things, right? I view it as like, I don't know how many people have had this experience, but in in middle school, Adobe Flash was at the time Macromedia Flash was a new thing, and that's where you do Flash games and all that kind of stuff where you like animate things, right? A key concept is keyframes, where you go from you make a tween from like one frame to another, and you say, and this is still a thing that you can do in like Final Cut Pro and stuff for like moving video around. But the first time I encountered it was in Flash, and if you drew a character over here and then at one keyframe and then you make it move over here for this keyframe, then the computer figures out how to like move that thing across the screen. Like that's how animation works, is that you specify keyframes that you want the thing to be here, then you want it to be here, and then it has to interpret. It has to, for humans, we have to self-organize, but for the computer, it more or less self-organizes. It calculates things, how to move the character from here to over here. So for us, if we say, okay, say I want to go from closed guard to a half guard. Say I'm more comfortable in my half guard and I don't want to hold them in closed guard forever. Okay. Then we have some concept of like, okay, both of my legs are around the guy. Okay, I'm gonna have to open my closed guard, and then I'm gonna have to shoot my one leg in between their two legs. There isn't a technique for that. There isn't like it's gonna look a little different each time because they're gonna be trying to be passing. They might be standing and passing, but the key frame, the end key frame is wanting to go into half guard, right? The starting state may be any number of different things. It could be open guard. It could be like they're standing and passing, and you're trying to slow them down. So you try to shoot your half guard in, and try to slow them down by locking one of their legs up with your two legs. That could be another situation where a different starting situation and then a different ending, like the same ending situation. So I view like the ecological approach through that lens of like, okay, we're just animating here. We're just defining what we want our computer to do. And we're self-organizing between the start and end points. So in between those things is like top player could be wanting to do something, or bottom player could be wanting to do something. I mean, they're both wanting to do something, right? But for development purposes, you may limit certain people's actions of like, okay, top player can't pass. Like they can only just keep the bottom player away, or stay in the pocket with bottom player, but you're not trying to pass, right? Maybe you're just trying to disconnect. And then bottom player's trying to sweep or something, right? Like you can kind of handicap people to be like, all right, you're trying to take tools away to emphasize other parts of the game, to emphasize the parts of the game that you do want to emphasize. Um, so, and then you also have to, like I said, a key word there, handicap. If you're two different like nobody's the same skill level, right? Everybody's a little bit better in some areas than other. But if you're a black belt rolling with a white belt, how are you going to make the most productive role for yourself, for them, and for you, right? So you have to handicap yourself. So you have to maybe, um, if you're doing, say, triangle escapes and triangle attacks, you don't even start in a triangle. You have to go and get the triangle yourself and then finish it, right? You have to do that the whole setup and attack by yourself. Versus the white belt may start you in like a fully locked in triangle and now you have to escape. So see there, like that itself is like you're doing similar games, but now you're both getting something out of it, right? Like the white belt gets to like try to finish you, like they can get the sense of like, oh, this is what it takes to finish somebody, finish a skilled opponent who is adept at defending and is going to try really hard to not get tapped, right? Versus they're going to get attacked by somebody who knows how to attack a triangle and knows how to break their posture, and they're going to see what a good triangle attack looks like too. So from scratch. So I think this is a self-handy like, but the coach can't always be there to like know what levels you're at. That I'm just picking an extreme example of like black belt versus white belt, right? But if you're a blue belt and purple belt, maybe you're, if you can get them with the triangle and you're starting from super deep in, like back out a little bit, like make your triangle a little bit looser, a little bit, you're less close to the goal and whatnot, right? Like the goal isn't to win, the goal is to learn. And we're trying to gain as much information as possible and make the live rounds as productive as possible. So yeah, those are the elements of like we define the boundary, we defined what's in the boundary, what's out of the boundary. We define what we're playing, like what's the sand that we're using. We have to be okay with building things up, trying different things out, and then tearing it down and resetting it, wiping the slate clean. Because ultimately, this is just a sandbox, right? We're just trying stuff out. We don't particularly care. We're not looking to make this a production ready system. Like Sandbox comes from the the software world where it's like it's a production like environment where it's going to be a system that looks like the customer system, but we're not releasing it to the customer yet. We're trying to find all the bugs before the customer sees them, right? So we define the box, we define what's in it, we define what isn't in it, what's out of it, and we're okay with resetting the whole thing every single time. We figure out where to start, and we figure out our goals, what top players trying to do, what bottom players trying to do. Figure out what are we constraining ourselves to, what tools are we allowed to use, what tools aren't we allowed to use, what is the behavior that we're trying to elicit here, what is the thing we're trying to learn, what are the guardrails that we're trying to point towards, and how do we handicap it, how do we vary the closeness, or the goodness of the position for one player or another. How do we scale it so that it's easier for one player, for a less experienced player, but harder for a more experienced player. Um, those are the three main levers that I see without all the ecological terminology and all the, like, you having to read all the books and whatnot, right? And become a scientist. Like, it's not. I think that's all pretty simple, simple enough, and that gives us all the tools that we need to just go and learn the thing and do the thing live and in a way that is beneficial to everyone. So make sure you like and subscribe. Check out my Sandbox BJJ school community and course platform. Right now I have a IBJJF No-Gi Worlds course up there, but I'm going to be expanding soon to ADCC, EBI, sub-only, all kinds of other rule sets, and just kind of in general development courses, so that we can, and it's just going to be a cool community of just like-minded people who just want to kind of professionalize their jiu-jitsu more. We're going to have weekly calls where it's sort of like a software stand-up meeting where it's like, okay, this is what I'm working on this week, this is what I got done last week, and I need help with XYZ, right? That's a normal, like, software stand-up agile development type of thing. Is what am I doing? What have I done? What am I doing? And am I blocked by anything? Those are just kind of the three questions you answer every stand-up. And I think on a weekly basis, having people check in on your game is going to be huge, because I don't know, it's a very self-directed sport, and it helps to have more support and kind of structure to kind of push you in more further in a direction than just kind of meandering and be like, all right, I guess this is what I'm doing now. And by having that more structure and support, we can just kind of get better and just kind of progress more in a direction, rather than kind of moving around kind of haphazardly. We're pushing towards a definite direction, and skills that build upon each other. Like, we can talk through your game about, like, okay, I'm good at half guard. I'm just using half guard as an example. We can start from anywhere, but okay, I'm good at half guard. Okay, I get stuck here a lot. Okay, cool. How do we get unstuck there? All right, what's the next thing? We can go dogfight. Okay, cool. We can go dogfight. All right, what's the next thing after that? We can break the problems down such that the one thing, like, we solve the first problem, that's going to lead to the second problem. There's going to be a downstream problem, and there's going to be another problem after that, but these problems are leading us towards more and more offense, towards better positions. These are better and better problems to have. So anyways, if you want to get support in moving in that direction, feel free to DM me, Sandbox BJJ or Mike Lady on Instagram. I just want to, just help support people in their jiu-jitsu journeys as much as possible. So thanks for listening.